Yeah, greetings, everybody. I am super excited, humbled, and honored to be speaking to all of you today in this special gathering that has the potential to heal and change the world. Thank you so much, Hawaii Friends of Restorative Justice, for making this possible. What is the dominant story about Africa? Africa is largely perceived as a jungle or a desert landscape, a place of danger, poverty, violence, disasters, and hopelessness. The traditional social support systems that provided protection, care, and support for our people in the absence of the comprehensive social protection plans in many underdeveloped countries are eroding. Important values that kept our societies, communities, and families together are eroding as a result of colonization and adoption of approaches that disempower people, rendering them as passive recipients of knowledge and services. This has resulted into greater uncertainties and risks associated with competitive pressures in the new economy, fueled by the digital divide, are pushing our people to the extreme hardships. Is Africa a victim of historical injustice? Injustices of the past cast a shadow on the present. They are the root causes of much harm and the source of ills in our communities. The colonial education system that we still follow has huge disparities, system dysfunctionalities, and inefficiencies. The education and training programs suffer from low quality teaching and learning and exclusions at all levels. There is a lot of theoretical knowledge, but no practical experience, or a little bit of both. And to many, it's like chasing wind that one will never find or catch. The existence of distinct groups within our societies, distinguished by an equal levels of power, privilege, and prestige, is another form of historical injustice. This is hindering the attainment of a fundamental freedom of a free society where all individuals act voluntarily, having the freedoms to obtain the power and resources to fulfill their own potentials. The politics also surrounding aid in Africa is another form of historical injustice. Aid has caused, so much corruption and conflict, inhibited social capital, and deepened state aid dependence, hindering economic and investment growth, stalling democracy, and the respect for rule of law, as well as unstable economic policies. The modern policing and legal systems in the post-colonial era undermines the role of indigenous cultures, eroding traditional conflict resolution methods and diminishing the community involvement. This is negatively impacting the cultural identity and social cohesion. Furthermore, modern legal systems rooted in the colonial history have historically discriminated against the marginalized populations, limiting access to education, employment, and other opportunities. I would like to share with you an example of Meshcop Uganda, a grassroots organization that's using collective narrative therapy to decolonize the narratives of a single story, ushering in alternative stories in a more diverse, innovative, empowering, honoring, and respectful ways. There are a couple of principles that shape our work. We acknowledge that people are always responding to hardships or trauma. There is no single person who is a passive recipient of trauma or hardship. Be it a child or an adult, they respond in different ways. We also acknowledge that these responses have a foundation. It might be rooted in what people value, or it could be rooted in their dreams or hopes, or a vision of what life could be about. We labor to trace the roots of what people give value. People's skills and knowledges, as well as their values and dreams, are linked to history, relationships, and culture. It's our job to make it possible for these links to be spoken about and documented. We trace the social, cultural, and historical roots of people's skills and enlist stories to be told about these roots. We help people to develop rich alternative stories. Often the people with whom we are working have become trapped in a dominant storyline that is saturated with problems. Alternative stories provide a new territory of identity on which people rebuild better. Our lives are multi-storied. We are always constantly making up stories about our lives. We do this by placing events into sequences through time and linking these events together according to a particular theme. No single story is an entire story. A single event or sequence of events can contribute to many different stories. Because we are constantly making up stories about our lives, and our lives are multi-story. They are beyond, the problem story. Meshkop and our partners, Project DeFi for Africa and LBF, are pioneering the creation of self-designed learning centers called the NOOCs. NOOCs are schools without teachers. They offer contextual-based learning with no curriculums, no exams, and learners decide what, when and how they want to learn. We believe that our people have the immense creativity, the capacity to innovate, and new approaches and ideas to co-create thriving livelihoods for themselves and others. We recognize the transformative power of our communities to rewrite their stories and overcome the enormous challenges often marked by abuse, neglect, hunger, labeling, violence, and poverty, nurturing resilience, aspirations, capabilities, skills, talents, and reconstructing new identities and preferred stories. When people take up the power back into their hands and manage their affairs, incredible things happen. When people realize the power in collective actions, the duty and responsibilities for them to take part in rebuilding their communities, incredible things happen. For example, in Mount Elgon, people have taken up different initiatives to build their communities. They're planting bamboo around their homes and then along the river banks and mountain slopes to be able to prevent their families and communities from the mudslides that have killed hundreds and thousands of people and destroyed properties worth millions. Bamboo is also becoming one of the important sources of income stream for hundreds of people in rural communities. Every day, more than 1,000 children under the age of 5 die from illnesses caused by unsafe water, poor sanitation, and hygiene. In our communities, it's a big problem also. Communities have taken up the initiative to protect water sources to keep their families and communities safe. Communication strengthens human dignity and validates human equality. Meshcoop Uganda has established a community radio that's giving a voice, to people to air out and solve their own problems within isolated communities in Uganda. Access to clean and reliable energy is a critical challenge in rural areas in Africa. Traditional cooking practices, primarily reliant on firewood and charcoal, contribute to deforestation, environmental degradation, and health issues. The lack of access to modern energy sources affects our communities, impacting daily activities, livelihoods, and overall well-being. Our people have embarked on the journey to build on energy. They're building solar panels from the silicon to power rural homes, building biodigesters to use the animal dung for cooking and lighting, and producing briquettes from agro waste to really be able to use for cooking. These interventions seek to alleviate the burden on natural resources and mitigating the environmental impact associated with conventional energy practices. Addressing the challenges of incarcerated folks extends beyond mere isolation, necessitating a deeper understanding of the multifaceted factors contributing to criminal behavior. Society often oversimplifies complex issues such as poverty, limited education, mental health challenges, and systematic injustices, all of which significantly influence criminal conduct. Meshcoop, Jesus Alive Gospel Outreach for African Project DeFi are building synergies and designing holistic and integrated programs and services that enables inmates to image and explore their passions and interests to develop skills and reclaim their self-esteem and dignity. By breaking the sense of isolation within the prison and fostering a supportive environment, we aim to facilitate a shift in perception. As I conclude, it has actually been an honor to present our perspective before you all. May this conference bring light, hope, healing, and justice to the nations. Thank you so much.